I need you to stop everything and listen, because what I'm about to reveal is a master key. For over a decade, I've decoded the patterns behind human connection, ancient truths, and the subtle mechanics of relationships. And I've found that there are 5 phrases, not just phrases, but diagnostic tests that a man runs, which tell you everything you need to know about his internal operating system. When you hear these, ignoring them is like seeing a crack in the foundation of your house and deciding to paint over it. These aren't just warning signs, they are calculated psychological tools wrapped in the disguise of everyday language. Once I point them out, you will hear them everywhere. Make sure you stay for the 5th one. It's the most camouflaged and yet the most corrosive, missed by 99% of women, and it's likely the single most important lesson in emotional self-preservation you will learn this decade. But before we get to the phrases, you must first grasp a fundamental truth that will recalibrate how you interact with men from this day forward. Most women are taught to be gardeners in a relationship, to see the seed of potential, to water it with benefit of the doubt, to pour their energy into healing a man's barren ground, rather than protecting their own lush garden. This instinct is so ingrained we've muted our own internal alarm system that detects men who are architects of emotional cages. And that's precisely what they are. Architects who use specific verbal blueprints to test your limits, lower your property value, and make you doubt the very ground you stand on. The ancient traditions of the world agree. Words are not just air, they are energy transfers. When someone speaks to you, they are injecting their own internal state, their true intentions, their level of self-respect, and their respect for you, directly into your spirit. This is why you can leave a conversation feeling exhausted, foggy, or second-guessing yourself, even if the words seemed harmless on the surface. Your intuition felt the poison, but your conditioned mind tried to tell you it was just water. What I'm giving you today isn't just dating advice. It is a form of spiritual martial arts. It will shield not just your heart, but your entire life's blueprint. Because here is the unspoken truth: the partner you choose is the co-author of your life story. He influences your career, your mental health, your financial reality, your relationship with your own body, and your capacity for joy. Choose poorly, and you will bleed years of your precious life force trying to edit a story you never wanted to be in. Choose wisely, or better yet, learn to spot and discard the wrong authors immediately, and you clear the stage for a masterpiece to be written. The first phrase that should have you immediately walking away, no questions asked, is when a man says, "You're too emotional," or any of its cousins like, "You're taking this too personally," or "Calm down." This statement is a masterclass in psychological deflection. It's designed to make you believe your valid emotional response is the problem, not his behavior that caused it. When a man calls your feelings too much, he isn't offering a diagnosis of you. He's confessing his own emotional allergy. He is allergic to authentic, unfiltered female emotion because it demands a level of presence and accountability he is unwilling to provide. Here's the subtext: he is testing you. He is checking to see if you will sacrifice your own internal compass to make his journey more comfortable. He's seeing if you'll dim your own light so he doesn't have to squint. A man who truly cherishes you is not afraid of your emotional depth, he's intrigued by it. He wants to understand it. He approaches your feelings with curiosity, not criticism. When a man tells you that your emotions are a flaw, he is screaming that he prioritizes his comfort over your reality. The most dangerous part of this phrase is how it installs a virus of self-censorship. You start to police your own heart. You second-guess every feeling, every intuitive hit. You start asking yourself, am I being unreasonable? This is the goal of an emotional architect. He wants you disconnected from your own internal GPS, because that GPS is the one thing that can navigate you safely out of his control. Women who are repeatedly subjected to this phrase often have to spend years in therapy learning to feel again. They've lost the language of their own heart because they were convinced it was speaking gibberish. This is a quiet form of soul violence, and it's rampant because we've been told it's normal. I am here to tell you it is not. Evolved, conscious men know a woman's emotional world isn't a problem to be solved, but an ocean to be explored with respect. The second phrase that should raise every red flag is, "I'm just being brutally honest," or "I'm just telling it like it is." Particularly after a comment that was needlessly sharp, critical, or demeaning, this phrase is a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's a tactic to disguise cruelty as a noble act. When someone uses honesty as a club, they aren't being truthful. They're being hostile and demanding you thank them for the bruises. Genuine honesty is a scalpel, used with the precision of a surgeon to heal, to help, to build. It's offered with compassion and a deep sense of care for the person receiving it. When a man lobs a hurtful remark and then hides behind the shield of just being honest, he reveals one of two things. He either has zero empathy, or he secretly enjoys the power trip of hurting you and then making you feel wrong for feeling hurt. I've seen this tactic systematically dismantle a woman's confidence. He'll make jabs about your ambitions, your body, your friends, your laugh, anything that brings you joy. And if you dare to say ouch, he acts as if you're attacking his integrity. This sets up a psychological bind where you start to equate love with enduring casual cruelty. You believe that asking for gentleness is a sign of weakness. The reality is, a man who loves you is your biggest fan. His words are meant to be the wind beneath your wings, not rocks in your pockets. Yes, tough conversations are a part of any real relationship, but they are conducted with the goal of strengthening the connection, not winning a power struggle. When honesty is consistently weaponized, it's a clear signal that this person is not on your team. He is more committed to his right to be blunt than to your right to feel safe and cherished. This phrase is especially toxic because we're taught to prize realness. We think we should be grateful for someone who doesn't sugarcoat things. But I need you to internalize this. You can and should demand both honesty and kindness. In a loving dynamic, they are two sides of the same coin. Honesty without kindness is not a virtue, it's just malice with a good PR agent. The third phrase that should sound a 5-alarm fire in your soul is, "You're so insecure," or "You're trying to control me," when all you've done is state a boundary or express a need. This is the classic move of a gaslighter, and its purpose is to make you terrified of advocating for your own well-being. When a man labels your reasonable request as a character flaw, he is conditioning you to be silent. Let's be perfectly clear on what a boundary is. It is not a wall. It is not a cage. It is a front door. A boundary is you saying, "This is the key to my house. This is what I need to feel safe and respected here." When you say, "It's important to me that we make dedicated time for each other," or "I'm not okay with you joking about that," or "Need to know if your plans change," you are not being a dictator. You are handing him the user manual to your heart. A man who calls your boundaries controlling is telling you something profound about himself. He believes his desire for unchecked freedom trumps your need for emotional safety. He sees your needs not as a roadmap to loving you better, but as an inconvenient traffic jam. This is not the soil for a healthy partnership to grow. This is the blueprint for a dynamic where you slowly erase yourself to avoid being a problem. The tragedy for women in these situations is that they start to shrink. They apologize for having needs. They stop asking for what they want. They accept behavior that feels wrong because they've been brainwashed into believing that having standards is a form of manipulation. They start to wear low maintenance as a badge of honor, not realizing they are simply making themselves easier to neglect. Here is the truth. A man who loves you wants to know the rules of your heart because his goal is to make it feel safe. He sees your boundaries not as restrictions, but as the very structure that allows true, deep intimacy to be built. When you can express your needs without fear of punishment, you can finally relax and bring your whole, loving self to the relationship. The men who accuse you of being controlling are the very men who will exploit your lack of boundaries. They want full access privileges to your life while offering a freemium plan in return. They want the perks of your love without the responsibility of honoring your soul. The fourth phrase is one of the most common and emotionally draining. "I'm not looking for anything serious," or "I just want to go with the flow." But here is the critical part. He says this while acting in every other way like your boyfriend. He's in constant contact, monopolizes your weekends, integrates you with his social circle, confides in you, and creates a powerful emotional and physical bond, all while holding up a sign that says, "This phrase is emotional fraud." It's designed to give him 100% of the relationship benefits with 0% of the commitment. He gets your wifely support on a girlfriend of the month subscription. He gets your loyalty, your time, your affection, and your energy while reserving the right to cancel at any moment, guilt-free, because was honest from the start. This is so devastating because it places you in an emotional checkmate. If you accept his terms, you're agreeing to be a placeholder. If you ask for more, he can gaslight you by saying you're breaking the rules he set. If you leave, you're tormented by the feeling that you're abandoning something that was just about to turn real. I need you to burn this into your mind. When a man is truly, deeply, and unequivocally into you, there is no ambiguity. There is no "let's see." There is only clarity and forward motion. When a man knows your worth, he doesn't go with the flow. He builds a dam to make sure you stay in his life. The men who keep you in this state of emotional purgatory are not confused. They are strategic. They know exactly what they want to keep you on the hook without having to land the fish. This dynamic is a slow-acting poison to your self-esteem. You start to internalize the idea that you are not quite enough to be chosen, that you have to audition for a role that you already deserve. You begin to see commitment not as a mutual desire, but as a prize you must earn by being patient and undemanding. The sneakiest part is that these men often do like you. They enjoy you. They may even have a form of love for you, but they love their optionality more. They love their freedom more than they love your peace. They would rather keep you in a state of anxiety than risk losing you by telling you the full truth, which is that you are not the one they intend to fully choose. And now, we arrive at the fifth and most insidious phrase. The one so subtle it's often disguised as a moment of intimacy, but it's actually the most profound form of psychological control. The phrase is, "You used to be more," followed by something "you are not anymore." You used to be more easygoing. You used to be more spontaneous. This phrase is an act of soul vandalism. It is designed to make you fear your own evolution. It's a criticism disguised as nostalgia, and its goal is to make you shrink back into a version of yourself that was more convenient for him. When a man tells you that you've changed for the worse, he's admitting that he didn't fall in love with you, he fell in love with a bonsai tree project. He loved your potential to be pruned and shaped to fit his world, not your potential to become a forest. Here's the play. By play, you're finding your voice. You're setting stronger boundaries. You're getting serious about your career. You're becoming more of who you were always meant to be. And instead of applauding your growth, he looks at you with disappointment. Why? Because the version of you he signed up for was smaller, quieter, more accommodating, and less threatening to his own ego. This phrase is so lethal because it attacks the core of your being, your right to grow. When a person you love suggests that your personal evolution is a form of betrayal, it creates a deep internal conflict. You start to believe that self-actualization is selfish. You wonder if you should file yourself back down to the person he found more palatable. I have seen brilliant women dim their own lights, give up passions, and retreat from their own power because a man made them feel guilty for growing. They stopped speaking their truth because he liked it better when they were more agreeable. They abandoned their ambitions because he missed the days when all their attention was on him. But you must understand this at a cellular level. A man who truly loves you doesn't just tolerate your growth. He is your biggest cheerleader. He is thrilled to watch you become more you. He knows that your expansion doesn't diminish the relationship, it enriches it, because a more powerful, authentic you brings more to the table. When a man criticizes your change, he is telling you he preferred you at a lower voltage. He's admitting his love was conditional upon you staying in a smaller box. This is not love, it is a desire for control. It is someone who wants a pet, not a partner. The most heartbreaking part is that women often internalize this as their own failure. They feel guilty for outgrowing a space that was always too small for them. They apologize for their own becoming. They see their evolution as a problem to be fixed, rather than the entire point of a conscious life. Now that you have this knowledge, this codebook, you might be feeling a whirlwind of things: recognition, anger, sadness, relief. All of it is valid. Let it flow through you. But please hear me, this knowledge is not meant to turn you into a cynic. It is meant to turn you into a connoisseur. It's about developing the refined palate to distinguish between junk food that gives you a quick hit and soul nourishment that sustains you for a lifetime. It's about finally giving your intuition the microphone instead of locking it in the basement. The truth is, there are men out there who would never dream of saying these things to you because they understand that love is about co-creation, not control. There are men who are fascinated by your sensitivity because they see it as a superpower. There are men who wrap hard truths in kindness because they cherish your heart. There are men who thank you for your boundaries because it helps them love you better. There are men who choose you with a resounding yes because they see your infinite worth. There are men who are in awe of your growth because your light inspires them to be better. These men are real, but you will never find them if you are wasting your time trying to decode the mixed signals of men who don't see you. You will never be available for them if your energy is tied up in a dynamic that diminishes you. You cannot build a palace with a man who is content to live in a shack. Here is your assignment. Start noticing your energy levels. After you talk to a man in your life, do you feel expanded or depleted? Do you feel more yourself or less yourself? Do you feel celebrated or tolerated? Your body knows the truth. Your energy is the ultimate lie detector. Start believing your first impression of someone. If he feels off in the first few weeks, he is off. Stop being a detective trying to find evidence to the contrary. If you catch yourself rehearsing conversations, justifying his behavior, or trying to convince yourself his words were meaningless, that is your data. That is the only signal you need. And most importantly, please understand that walking away from someone who doesn't cherish you is not an act of rejection. It is the ultimate act of self-acceptance. It is not giving up, it is leveling up. Every minute you spend trying to teach someone your value is a minute you are unavailable to someone who already gets it. The right person for you won't make you feel like you're hard to love. The right person will see you in all your complexity and think, finally, there you are. I want to leave you with a metaphor that completely transformed my life. Your boundaries are not a fortress to keep people out. They are a velvet rope that only lets the right people in. When you are clear about your standards for respect and safety, you are not being high maintenance. You are being a good hostess to your own soul. The people who complain about the velvet rope are the ones you didn't want inside anyway. The people who respect it, who honor it, who are happy to be on the guest list, those are your people. Those are the ones who understand that love isn't a free for all, it's a sacred space where two people commit to helping each other thrive. Every time you enforce a boundary, you are sending a signal to the universe about your own worth. Every time you walk away from a dynamic that dims your light, you are building a brighter future. Every time you choose your own peace over someone else's convenience, you are laying the foundation for a love based on mutual adoration, not one-sided sacrifice. This is not about building walls around your heart. This is about becoming the fiercely loving guardian at its gate. This is about understanding that your love is a treasure to be bestowed upon those who know how to value it, not squandered on those who treat it like loose change. Here is the final truth, and if you hear nothing else, hear this. You are not a rehabilitation center for broken men. You are not a teacher hired to give lessons in basic human decency. You are not required to stay in any situation that costs you your peace, simply because someone else is not evolved enough to meet you where you are. Your job is not to be a bottomless well of understanding and forgiveness until you yourself run dry. Your job is not to love someone into a better version of themselves. Your job is to be the most authentic, vibrant, and joyful version of yourself, to honor your own truth, to trust your gut, and to build a life that feels like home to your soul. The love you seek is also seeking you. But it can only find you if your hands are empty, not when they are busy holding on to something that isn't meant for you. It can only see you when you are standing tall in your full truth, not when you are crouched down, trying to make yourself smaller for someone else. So, the next time you hear one of these 5 phrases, I want you to feel my voice in your ear. I want you to breathe, to trust that deep, quiet knowing inside you, and to make the choice that aligns with your highest self. Because you deserve a love that feels like a homecoming, not a cage. You deserve a love that champions your becoming, not one that resents it. You deserve a love that sees your heart as a miracle, not a problem. Walk away from anyone who makes you feel like an apology. Walk toward everything that makes you feel like a prayer. You are building the house your future self will live in. Choose your materials wisely. The right love won't ask you to sacrifice your soul to find it. The right love will feel like finding the missing part of your own. Trust that, choose that, and never ever look back.